And protests in Iran are intensifying over the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini. And as demonstrations there enter their 7th week. Many protesters are even calling the movement a revolution. Let's bring in ABC News' Patrick Reevell live from our London bureau with more on that and some of the day's other international headlines. Patrick, ABC News Live has obtained some new video showing some of the violence against protesters by authorities. And I do want to warn viewers, this may be hard to watch. Now, authorities are saying that the officers involved in this video will be disciplined, but it doesn't seem like these protests are dying down. How significant is this?
Yeah, Diane, I think quite the opposite, actually. Right now, it seems that the protests are growing and also the crackdown against them. You know, daily now we see attacks by security forces as well as pro-regime government, pro-government thugs attacking protesters. And that's what we seem to see in this video, which shows a protester being heavily beaten and then finally shot at point-blank range with a shotgun. And, you know, that video is causing outrage in Iran, but I think, you know, horrifically, it's not even that out of the ordinary from what we're seeing from this crackdown. We're seeing, as I say, this sort of attacks on protesters almost daily. Hundreds of protesters have been reported to be killed and injured since the protests began 7 weeks ago. But that isn't deterring the protests for now. We know students have been protesting and holding sit-ins again in the last 2 days. And I think right now the regime seems to be struggling to understand how it can deal with these protests. It seems to be wavering between more harsh repression, but also making these sort of feeble attempts to reach out to the protesters. And I think that confusion is feeding this sense that this really is an unprecedented movement against the regime, the biggest challenge to the Iranian regime since it was formed in 1979.